Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. What you just saw there was how to cut up a chicken, and if you are a producer, this is a way you can add value to your products and have a wider variety of things you can offer to your customers. So what I'll show you now is kind of a step-by-step process on how we do that and talk through that. So we've got one more bird here to go, and this is about a 4.5, 5-pound broiler chicken. So anything over about 4.5 pounds is good for doing cut-ups. Anything smaller than that, I'm not going to do that. It's going to go with a whole bird. The reason for that is you want to have about 1 pound of breast when you cut up a bird, and you need about a 4.5 pounder to accomplish that. So kind of filter out your bigger birds when you do your processing day at the end, and you can turn them into cut-ups. So the first thing we're going to do is cut off the wings, and you're going to cut up close here to the base of the wing, because you're looking at the difference between a $3.50 a pound cut and a $13 a pound cut. So you want to preserve as much of the breast as you can into the breast cut and off the wing. So we made that cut into here, right along the edge of the bone. And now we want to cut under the pocket, and we're popping off the wing joint here. So you can see that's a clean cut there without a lot of that breast meat on here. So that's what we are going for. We'll do that on the other side. Same thing. Cut in on that breast there. You want the nub of the wing to just be cut, and then right here. So both of the wings are off. Next thing we're going to do is come up here, cut open the flap to let the legs go, pull them out here some, and then we're going to try to keep skin with the leg to cover the exposed part when it goes into the oven. So make that one cut there, cut around here in a dish shape, and that should have all of the meat cut up to the hip joint. So what we're going to do then is break that out. You can see the hip bone popped right out, and that will give us a nice passage to run our knife along. And you're going to feel your way along here because there's cartilage and stuff along the back of the spine and the hip bone that we want to separate away. Just like that. And we're left with this skin that can cover that thigh, just like that. And it'll help keep moisture in when that gets cooked. Same thing on the other side. We're going to cut here. Keep the skin with the leg, coming around the top in that dish cut, breaking it open, and then finishing it off just like that. So we got our 2 legs and thighs combo. Now for the breast, we're going to take this skin here and pull it down. That's going to stay with your back piece. So we're not pulling it off, just kind of lowering it down there. There's 2 ways that you can cut the breast off that I use. And we'll show you both ways. One is you're skimming along that breastbone till you hit the wishbone here, and then you're going to take a slight turn and finish the cut all the way down. So you're leaving the breastbone in there. You do lose a little bit of the meat this way though, so another alternative way that you can do is to come along the breastbone, hit that wishbone, and cut through it. Now you're going to have to make sure that you separate that out later on. And then you're just going to separate the tender off of the rib cage like this, just using your fingers. You don't really need to use a knife for this. And you've got everything separated except for the little bit of anchor meat down here on the ribs. So then we're just going to take our knife, kind of fillet it a few times, coming up along here. And we have separated the breast from the carcass. Now this is the one that had that breastbone in it. So we got to find where that is, right here. And you can either try to pop it out by hand or take a knife and just cut that open and pull that little piece of bone out. So that's a critical step when doing it this way. A lot of the times I don't do it that way because of that additional step. But you do, as you can see here, recover a lot more of the breast meat using the wishbone cut method. Now on the other side where we did not cut the wishbone, same process where you're going to separate it from the rib cage, a couple finishing cuts here, and then up along the edge. Now right here you need to pay attention because there is this cartilage on the carcass that you don't want to have come with the breast meat. So a lot of times if you're sloppy with your knife, you'll end up cutting down here and then have this big chunk of cartilage that you then have to deal with. But if you just slide your knife along when you're making that cut, and you can end up with that piece not in there. So this one does not have the breastbone in, but as you can see here, you are losing an ounce maybe of meat that you're leaving behind with that bone. So whichever way works for you, the key thing is just to stick with it and do the same thing every time. So we have our wings, leg and thigh, and then the back. Backs we package up 3 to a bag and are sold for soup stock. Legs and thighs will be 2 to a package, as well as a leg and thigh combo. And then obviously the breasts are done together, 2 to a package, and sold that way. Now I'll show you while we're here how to separate the thigh from the drumstick. We don't do this for retail sale, but I'll show you here while we're at it. You can feeling where the bone is, and it comes up into this joint here. So what we're going to do is kind of cut right along this seam of the muscle that you can see there. And again, I'm not as fluid with this because we don't do it as often. But you can see that's the joint right there. And we're going to allow that to break apart. We don't want to saw through the bone. And then it's finishing that off. Just like that. And so then you have your thigh piece and then your drumstick piece. And then if you wanted to go even further to deboning the thigh, if you got a market for that, it's simply just cutting along that thigh bone and then separating it out probably with your hands is the best way to get it off cleanly. And pulling that thing out. So again, we don't do that regularly, so I'm not as good at doing that maneuver, but that would give you your boneless thigh and then your drumstick if you wanted to break the bird down even further. So that's a quick demo on how to cut up your chickens. Again, if you're a producer, it's a way that can add $3 to $5 in value to your carcass and offer a wider variety of cuts available to your customers. So try it, work on it. It takes a while to develop speed with it, but after a while you can get real proficient at it and turn the birds around pretty quickly. So hope you enjoyed the video. You guys take care and stay busy out there on your farm.